Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Jersey Boy Sports Talk. I'm Nick Bogatis, along with CB Garrett and Matt Stolboff. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you, Nick?
All right.
I'm just dandy. As you guys know, this is everyone's favorite New Jersey sports talk show. We are the only show that is less explicit than Jameis Winston. We'll get to that later on. Just get some stuff out of the way. Follow us on Twitter at JB Sports Talk. Follow all of our individual accounts as well. You can like us on Facebook at Jersey Boy Sports Talk with Nick Bogatis, CB Garrett, and Matt Stolboff. Phone number for tonight is 862-400-6461. Call in anytime if you got any questions or something you want to talk about. Obviously, the huge story of the week and the summer and pretty much since February, Ray Rice. But there has been some new developments in this story after Ray Rice was cut by the Ravens and suspended indefinitely by the NFL. A domestic abuse policy was introduced, and now we are learning, aside from last week we talked about Roger Goodell having the tape in NFL headquarters and not seeing it or disregarding it, whatever. We are learning now that the Ravens had a role in this cover-up as well. And basically, this was a report from ESPN Outside the Lines that basically the Ravens security saw the video hours after the elevator incident, knew about it. The owner, the GM, and the team president asked Roger Goodell to be lenient with Ray Rice and only give him 2 games, and that's obviously what ended up happening. And John Harbaugh had wanted to release Ray Rice within the week that it happened, and they overruled him. So, Matt, I'm going to start with you. What's going to happen to the Ravens now?
It's nothing. Maybe the owner gets punished. Now he's been caught. Goodell obviously knew about this because he talked to him. All along. Just now that the word's gone out. So I don't think it's going to be a huge punishment. But fans are not going to be happy. They won't be happy with the Ravens. They're just not happy with anything that's going with the Ravens. They're tired of it. They want to move on, but now they can't because they've taken a pretty far step back with Ray Rice, but try to move forward by cutting him and trying to forget about him. They took an even bigger step back though this week with the owner, finding out that the owner was pursuing Goodell and trying to tell him, don't only suspend Ray Rice for 2 games. Also telling Harbaugh that he doesn't want to cut him, even though Harbaugh wanted to cut Ray Rice. So it's just a whole mess, really, for Baltimore. It's not like I don't think he's going to sell the team or anything, but it's just a big issue, and as they won't really get punished, but fans are definitely not happy with Baltimore.
Now, CB, we see that the Ravens had a huge role in this. So does Roger Goodell still need to? A lot of people are calling for him to resign. Do you think he should resign, or be fired, whatever?
Well, I definitely don't see there's any way either of those things are going to happen, no matter what should happen, because the NFL owners, no matter what is going on, seem to be content with the fact that Roger Goodell is kind of trying to keep this thing afloat unsuccessfully. They seem to have no unspoken thoughts against Goodell. At least at this point, no owners have come out and say they don't have his support. So as long as that continues to happen, he's going to continue to stay in the NFL, and there's no way he's going to give up the lucrative contract that he has. He makes around like $25 million a year.
44 mil. Now. It's insane. But I found this interesting. To the debate where who is more wrong here? The Ravens for asking Roger Goodell to do this. Roger Goodell's listening to his boss. He works under the owners. He was listening to one of his bosses here. Obviously was wrong. But the Ravens, several members of the Ravens front office saw the video within the day of the incident. John Harbaugh was turned away on multiple occasions trying to cut Ray Rice. Because this is the guy I mean, you can argue for Joe Flacco or Terrell Suggs, but Ray Rice is one of the faces of your franchise. And this happens, and now we've caught you. You were an active part in this huge cover-up, because we were just thinking that, Roger Goodell was an idiot and didn't assume what happened after the outside the elevator video. Whereas we know that video was available because the Ravens security team got it, the Ravens GM, the Ravens CEO, the Ravens owner, they all got to it. And Roger Goodell got the video eventually. We still have the National Organization for Women calling for Roger Goodell's head. And he did have a press conference. So, I don't know if you guys watched it. But, he didn't seem to know what he was talking about. He basically was like, I'm sorry for what happened with the Ray Rice situation. We'll try to clean up. And I thought it was a disaster. I don't know about you guys. CB, your thoughts on Roger Goodell's comments?
He basically said, I waited 9 days and said absolutely nothing after all this outcry and hid from the media and everything else, just to say that, you know what, you can wait 6 more months until the Super Bowl, and then we'll give you our thoughts on this with our new policy. Because he said it'll come out by the Super Bowl. And obviously, with the NFL in such a fragile state right now with all the sponsors on the line, Procter & Gamble's dropping their sponsorship with the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So they lose that. All the sponsors, including Anheuser-Busch, have showed their displeasure, and they basically dropped the ball by saying, we're going to wait until the Super Bowl to deal with this, and we'll get back to you. When they had a chance to really come out there and say, come out with a new policy and lay the law down and take charge, and they just completely failed in doing so by having everyone wait the Super Bowl for the new policy.
No, obviously it isn't just Ray Rice. We had the story come out about Adrian Peterson last week, and was indicted for neglectful something along the lines of child abuse, because he beat his son with a switch, his 4-year-old son. Greg Hardy was also indicted for domestic violence. Both Hardy and Adrian Peterson were placed on the commissioner's exempt list, basically meaning they're suspended from all team activities, but they still have full pay. Snowball, does that hurt Roger Goodell?
No. I mean, they're still getting paid, right? So that probably hurts them a little bit. But they are under contract. They still deserve the contracts that they have. And AP's case, I mean, we've seen pictures, but he is going into court on this, and so is Greg Hardy, so they have the right, to go on trial and see what their punishment is. And I think they should still get paid, because it's not like there's, I think they still should get paid. I'm trying to word it in a way, but basically what I'm saying is they should get paid.
Yeah, I got it.
It's fine by Goodell. I know a lot of people are going to be happy about it, but I think it's okay.
Well, the thing is, I'm all about due process and our constitutional rights, all that. And I can understand with Adrian Peterson, deactivating him, putting him on that list, or whatever. But Greg Hardy has already been convicted of domestic abuse. He's appealing it, but he's already been convicted by a jury. So I don't see why he hasn't been suspended yet, at least the 6 games that the new policy mandates. And if you're going to still be following that policy, I'm not defending Ray Rice in any way, but why is he suspended indefinitely? And Greg Hardy, who's been convicted, isn't suspended at all. He's suspended, but suspended with pay. CB, do you think Ray Rice should have been suspended indefinitely?
I don't know if indefinitely was the right call here. Obviously, the NFL put themselves in a terrible situation with their first suspension with 2 games. I think Ray Rice got double jeopardy just because of the fact that the NFL screwed up the first time. Now, obviously, everyone hated the 2-game suspension. They got completely debacled by the media for that decision, and everyone was hating on the NFL for that, and that really put the pressure on them to step up big time, and they got a second chance when the video came public. But now we know that the NFL already had it within their headquarters, that the Ravens had the video. It makes it clear that was the wrong decision to jeopardize him again. Now, while the first suspension was definitely wrong, I think suspending him again was just the NFL's way of trying to cover themselves up. And now that we know they already had the video, and then Goodell coming out and saying that's not what Ray Rice told him, and Ray Rice told him exactly what he did inside the elevator, I think it was just the NFL's way to try and cover up the entire situation, and they did a very poor job of it as more of these details came out and leaked.
Yeah. I just feel like this is becoming a whole nother issue. It's traveling outside the world of sports. Now CNN is covering this. Just the regular news is on to the NFL and talking about this. This is becoming a case like Donald Sterling, where everyone's talking about it, not just sports fans. And I think that's where I draw the line. When it's becoming a national issue aside from just sports fans, that's when you seriously have a problem on your hand. You need to clean up this organization. I'm not sure if that's getting rid of Roger Goodell. He definitely needs to be punished in some way. And I think the Ravens organization needs to be punished for their role in the cover-up. But the owners have to do something about this, and I'm not sure what it is. But you need to take some serious steps towards cleaning up the league and cleaning up those who run it. Because clearly, Roger Goodell, if he's just going to give in to the Ravens owner and just give Ray Rice a 2-game suspension, he's not the right guy for the job. Also, real quick, Jonathan Dwyer, Cardinals' backup running back, was indicted for domestic violence. So you just have another kid on... Their players are becoming numbers at this point. Another kid arrested for domestic violence. So he'll probably end up getting the 6 games eventually. It's out of control. And it's not like domestic violence hasn't always been a problem. The problem now is the discipline or lack thereof. Also, the NFL introduced a new drug policy. CB, I'm going to go to you since you seem to be the drug expert here. With all your threshold talk and whatever. So, what's the new policy?
Well, basically, the NFL went to the new threshold that of 150 nanograms for marijuana testing and became less strict on amphetamines as not classifying them as a steroid anymore or a PED, so to speak. So basically, the NFL came out with a new policy. That new threshold is the same now as the World Anti-Doping Association, which covers events which deals with events such as the Olympics and stuff like that. Now, basically, this reinstates players such as Wes Welker and Orlando Scandrick immediately, and reduces Josh Gordon's suspension to 10 games. So we'll see him on the field this year. Overall, it's probably a good thing because the NFL had such a strict drug policy, and it was completely ridiculous compared to some of the other notable organizations like the Olympics and stuff like that. So it was completely out of line with all the rest of the organizations, and now it's just a more reasonable standard for players.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it differed from the Anti-Doping Association in the first place. There's obviously PEDs all around the league. I think we talked about this on a previous show. But
that's going to be testing as well.
Yeah. That's really the underlying issue behind all this concussion stuff and all these injuries, is that guys have never been this strong in the league before. And why is that? Because there's a lot of players in the league that are on drugs.